Hello and welcome back, everybody. So what you see on your screen is not the usual build video that I do, but this time you're seeing a almost complete MiG-21 Type 96, which is the M/MF model of the Indian Air Force. It's almost complete. It's all painted up. Of course, it looks a little bland at the moment because I haven't yet weathered it. But there'll be just a subtle bit of weathering and the model will be complete. However, the reason why this is not a full build video is because of a mishap that took place recently, and that is I purchased a new phone, Samsung Z Fold 5, and I exchanged my old phone for the new one. The entire build video was recorded on the old phone, and while the data transfer was taking place, some mishap happened, and the folder in which I had all the complete build, unboxing and build of this particular model, got lost in the data transfer that took place. There's no way to recover that because the old phone is gone. It's all formatted already. It's not with me anymore. So I thought that let's put whatever I have to a better use now. So you can see that the model is almost complete. Now this particular MiG-21 Type 96 is the one that had black circles on it, and this is where I would bring in the current topic of this video, which is, and I've received a lot of requests for this, and which is, how do I print my own decals or decals? Well, I'm going to stick to decals because I find that easier to pronounce. I'm going to take you through a step-by-step procedure on designing and printing the decals, and let's get on with it. All right, so it's a pretty interesting activity, which is the printing of the decals from the time that you research your model and you find that these are the markings that you would need to actually getting down to designing them in a particular software to finally printing them. So what you see on your screen are two different kinds of decal sheets. The one on the left is a transparent decal sheet and the one on the right is a white decal sheet. The difference between the two is that the film that finally goes onto your model in the transparent decal sheet will be transparent, so there will be no background behind it, and in the white decal sheet will be white. So if you've seen my videos and you see the squadron markings and the Indian Air Force markings, which is the roundels and the fin flash, most of them are printed, in fact all of them are printed on the white decal sheet, whereas if you look at the stuff like the serial number or text like Indian Air Force or Bharatiya Vayu Sena, those kind of things are printed on the transparent decal sheet. So these are the two decal sheets, and you see that there's stuff written in Chinese, and that's because I purchased them from China, but this was like a couple of years back, more than about 5-6 years back. I purchased it when things were good and you could purchase stuff from AliExpress. Each decal sheet costed me about 1,200, and each of them had 10 sheets, and you can see that I've still got about 4 or 5 sheets left, so they're going to last me almost a lifetime. So 10 of these and 10 of these, and I got them each for about 1,200 rupees. Now one catch here is that I can show you a sample of the transparent decal sheet. So here's a cutout sample of a transparent decal sheet, and here is a cutout sample of a white decal sheet, and you can see that there is hardly any difference. So it once happened with me. I got confused on which one is which, and I printed the decals on the wrong decal sheet. So always make sure that you have both of them separate, and when you're working on it, work on them separately. All right, so I am now at my laptop, and that is the place where I design my decals. So this is simply Microsoft Word that I'm using to design my decals. So for the serial numbers, you can see that it's pretty simple. I just identify the font that is there on that particular aircraft for the serial numbers, and then if required I download the font, or I go to the online websites where you can use that particular font. Here you see like C1478. This is very simply, Arial Narrow that you use on the MiG-21s. So you have the C1478 numbers here. And what I do is I usually print one decal extra, just in case a mishap happens while putting the decals there. So these are the circles that I need to print, and I did run a print through some time back. Here is that print, and this is on a white decal sheet, but the reason why I am going to print them again is that these circles were a tad bit bigger than what was required on my aircraft. Of course, I can cut out smaller circles. They're printed pretty okay. I can cut out smaller circles, which I will see if I need them, but these can serve as extras. And now I am going to print a brand new set of these circular decals. So it's very simple. So I've just taken up these circles, colored them black, and now I go to shape format, and then just make the edits as required. So I'll just reduce the size of this circle from 1.8 to, let's say, 1.6 and 1.6. I think that should be a good size to go with for the initial center wing decals. So I'm taking a 1.6 and I just replicate the same here. And replicate once more. And once more, just to have an extra set of decals to account for any mishap. Because these are black decals, so I would need the white decal sheet to go with them. So I'm going to take my white decal sheet out from here, and I'm just simply going to print this on the white decal sheet. This is the printer that I'm using. Mine is the Canon G3060 model, and this is an inkjet printer, but this is actually has an ink tank. So you have the red, blue, and yellow colors out here, and you also have a black color out here. So you can measure the level of the ink. And sometime back I used the normal inkjet printer, which had an ink cartridge in it, but that was a very, very expensive affair. And almost every 1.5 months I had to replace the two cartridges inside it, and those cartridges each would cost me about 1,300 rupees. So I had to replace worth 2,600 rupees of cartridge. So I finally took the decision and I replaced it. Of course, that printer was pretty cheap. The printer actually costed me just about 1,700 rupees, but an every month replacement of 1,300 worth of cartridges was really setting me back by a lot of money. So I finally purchased this one. This is a good printer to have. This is a good starter printer. Of course, it will not print white. For that, you will need a printer that actually has a white toner, and those printers are very, very expensive. They come to the order of about 70 to 80,000, which is the starting price of a printer that has a toner, and they are difficult to maintain as well because of the white toner inside them. But for all other decal needs, this is a great printer to have. And they promise about 13,000 black prints and about 7,000 to 8,000 color prints. That is if you're using it regularly. So my usage is not very regular, so it can carry on for years and years. As you can see, the ink levels have not yet dipped. They are still full, and it's been almost a year since I purchased this printer. So it's going good. I use it for my other printing jobs as well. So I'm just going to turn it on now and just simply run the print on a printer sheet. So technically I'm going to use a normal A4 size printer sheet, and I'm going to first run the print on this to check whether the print is correct or not, and then we'll follow up with the next step. All right, so there goes the sheet, and the printer is almost ready to print. So there, you can hear it. The engine is spooling up. It's getting ready to print. It's also cleaning up the head, and it says it's ready to copy on an A4 sheet. So let's get on with the printing. All right, so a quick Control P and the view changes to the print view. So I just click on the print here and it has gone to the printer. It says printer offline, but it has started printing here. And let's quickly go and have a look at what's been printed so far. Okay, there we are. So that's been printed. So I'll just quickly check if the sizes are what I need, and I think they are, but let me just quickly run a measurement and come back. All right, so the measurements seem to be correct. The next step is I have taken my white decal sheet, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut out the size that I require. Now you cannot run the printer sheet time and again because this is a one-time use decal sheet. If you run it through the printer, run the complete sheet, one thing which will happen is it'll leave off all those margins, which will be a waste. And the other thing that will happen is you will run out of your decal sheet very quickly. This is a very good quality decal sheet and I do not want to take chances with it. So I will cut out the exact amount of decal sheet that I need. So I will just measure the width and the height of the sheet size that I require, and I will simply superimpose the sheet on this and then run it through my printer, and I'll show you how it's done. Okay, so I'm going to take the measurements now, and just about this much is the length that I need, and the width is, of course, I'll measure it through this, slightly more, and that's where I mark it. And so I'm going to cut out this size of the decal sheet and superimpose on the printer sheet. Okay, so I'm going to superimpose this section of the decal sheet on the printer sheet, and now I'm going to use my masking tape to tape it on this sheet. All right, so just a small amount of masking tape here and out here on the sides, and you can see in the light here that I've properly superimposed it. And now I'm going to run this decal sheet again through the printer, run a print command again, and that'll have the decals printed on the decal sheet. Optimum utilization of resources. What do you say? The next thing I'm going to do is to wait for about 5 minutes for the ink to dry up a little bit, and then I will seal it with a gloss coat. Alright, so right now I have the decal sheet held in this contraption that I made with a toothbrush so that, you know, your hands stay off the decal sheet. So the decal sheet is here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to gloss coat it with this, which is the 4S spray paint, and you can see that it says clear. It's identified by the clear color of the cover. So I'm going to spray 3 coats of the clear on this decal sheet, and each of those 3 coats will have a gap of about 15 to 20 minutes, and once I'm done with spraying those 3 coats, I'll come back. Alright, so here we are after about a couple of hours, and I kept coming back in every 15-20 minutes or half an hour, and I've sprayed 3 coats, and you can see all that glossy shine on the sheet now, and the decal sheet is now ready, and I can cut out these decals and start placing them on the model. Alrighty, here I am with the almost completed model, and as you can see, all the decals, the round decals are in their place, and this model stands complete. So that'll do it for this episode. I hope you liked this video and found it informative. If you did, please smash the like button and do consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you very much. I will see you again in the next video. Bye bye, take care.